friends. It's Leslie, and today I want to dive into one of the biggest reasons accountants stay stuck and overwhelmed, even when they have a team. It's because clarity creates confidence, but confusion creates chaos. And I want to show you how one simple shift will change the way your team performs and how you feel like a leader. And this is also for those of you that don't have a team right now or don't want a team. But when you're clear, it creates confidence. But when you're confused and you're like living in chaos, it lowers confidence. So I want to tell you a story. Years ago, I used to give my team the vaguest instructions imaginable. And sometimes I still fall into this crap, into this. Not because I didn't care, not because I wasn't smart, but because my brain was always 10 steps ahead of my mouth. And on some days, it felt more like 50. I'd hand someone a project and I'd say things like, "Hey, can you just take care of this? Can you get this done? Look this over, handle this for me." And they would just, and I still remember the blank look on their face like, "What are you even talking about? What client are you talking about? What does this even mean?" And in my head, it made perfect sense. And I knew exactly what I meant. But in their head, it was a freaking guessing game. And here's the part I hate admitting. When they brought it back to me and it wasn't what I imagined, I blame them. But the truth was, I was the one creating the confusion for them. I was the one that wasn't clear. And now I hear this from accountants all the time. I told them what to do, they just didn't do it. But when we dig deeper, the instruction was either vague, rushed, or assumed that it was common sense. So the chaos wasn't caused by the team, it was caused by the lack of clarity. And I know this happens all the time in businesses, not just in accounting firms, but businesses altogether. Because the more I've been talking to accountants and just business owners, nonprofits, this is like a very common theme, including in boards, including in all kinds of organizations, because that's why I say clarity creates confidence, confusion creates chaos. When your communication is vague, your team is going to hesitate each and every time. They're going to second guess it. They're going to delay. They will ask 14 billion follow up questions, or they'll do it wrong altogether, or some of them just won't even do it because they're not clear. Not because they can't do it or they don't want to do it, but because they don't know what right actually looks like. And they don't want to be criticized. They don't want to be judged. They don't want to do it wrong. So they do nothing. So today I want to share a framework with you to help make it practical, something that you can do today. And it's the framework that we teach our clients. So in step one, I want you to start with the outcome. What does done actually look like? And a lot of times we are not clear in what actually done looks like. So what does it actually look like? Start with the outcome. Step two is define the first next step, not the whole mountain, just the first step they must take. And I'll use an example from like a client, like a tax client perspective. Like, I need you to get this information from X client. That's the first step. And then assign a clear deadline. When do I want that done? I want that done by tomorrow. Because if the deadline is vague, the action will be too. And step four is confirm understanding. Do you understand? Is not the right way. But can you walk me through what that first step is? Because you're also looking at what did they hear? How did that look? So on my example, can you get this information is not clear. Because how are they supposed to get the information? And these are pieces that are usually missing. So when I say, how can you get me that information? Do you want me to call the client? Do you want me to text the client? Do you want me to send it through our secure platform? How do you want me to do it? You have to be clear. That one question will save you hours of rework. Can you walk me through what your first step is? And sometimes I'll even say, what did you hear? And they'll say the words back to me so I can make sure that we're on the same page. So here's what I want you to try this week. Replace every vague instruction with a clear, specific step. And while this might sound daunting, today's Thursday afternoon, try it tomorrow. What is one thing instead of, can you take care of this? Say, please review this return for accuracy and tell me the 3 things you update before noon tomorrow. See the difference? Can you take care of this? Please review this return for accuracy and tell me the 3 things you'd update before noon tomorrow. You're telling them what you want them to do, the 3 things you'd update before noon. Do you see how clear that is? Instead of handle this, say upload these documents, send the confirmation to the client, and upload the workflow by the end of the day. Because this is one thing I know I see in a lot of my coaching calls, and just from experience too, that last piece is missing by the end of the day, by tomorrow, by next week. Whatever it is, we usually don't say that. So then the team doesn't know that this is when you need it by. So they're not clear. And I've had several conversations over the last few weeks with different clients in networking groups and just different things that they're like, but they didn't do what I wanted them to do. And I'm like, but were you clear? I'm like, yes, I was absolutely clear. I said, did you tell them when you wanted it by? Well, they should just know that that's not how it works. They don't just know. They don't know what the priority is unless you tell them. So I need this done by the end of the day. Many of you think that's micromanaging. It's setting the expectation. So another example, instead of look this over, say, I want you to check for missing documents and let me know by 3 p.m. if anything's incomplete. I see this play out in the tax world, well, in bookkeeping too, so many times. It's like, you don't tell them, hey, let me know what's missing. You see how that's playing? Like, they did everything they could do, but you didn't say, hey, I need to know what's missing by 3 p.m. if anything's incomplete, because maybe you have a meeting with that person tomorrow, but they don't know that. One clear next step creates confidence. One vague instruction creates chaos, because that's where we end up in this hamster wheel of just like staying in everything. And then we go back to, I'll just take that back and do it myself. It's just easier if I do it myself. But one thing I want you to hear me say is, when clarity enters the room, your team rises, your stress drops, your leadership strengthens, and suddenly things start moving without you constantly re-explaining or redoing. I can't tell you the amount of times I've had to redo work because I wasn't clear, and they didn't understand my instructions because I wasn't clear. And that's what I see happening over and over in firms today, which is what is causing overwhelm. That's why communication is such a big piece of overwhelm and why we get so frustrated. So I want you to try this today. Think of the next thing you're going to delegate. And before the words leave your mouth, ask yourself, is this clear or is it vague? Then reshape it into one clear next step. And if you're willing to try this, drop clarity in the comments, because I've seen that this is one of the biggest problems in businesses right now is communication, because people are not clear. Because you deserve a business that doesn't rely on you for every detail. Your team deserves clarity. They need clarity. They want clarity because we hear it from them all the time. And you deserve peace and freedom that your business was started for. And remember, clarity creates confidence, confusion creates chaos. You get to choose which one your firm runs on, and that's your choice. So I hope this training was helpful. Have a great rest of your week, and I hope to see you soon.